Hello, welcome to New England Lights. I'm Phil Kowalski, your host. Today we've traveled to Newburyport, Massachusetts to visit the Newburyport Harbor Light, also known as Plum Island Light. The lighthouse is located on the northern tip of Plum Island at the entrance of the Merrimack River and Newburyport Harbor. On November 16, 1787, the Massachusetts Assembly authorized the building of 2 lighthouses on the north end of Plum Island, and the towers were erected the following year. The original 2 towers were built as range lights on movable foundations, so their positions could be changed to show channels through shifting sandbars. On June 10, 1790, they were ceded to the newly formed federal government. Because of the shifting sandbars at the mouth of the Merrimack River, those lights were moved many times. Today, only one white conical tower, built in 1788 and rebuilt in 1898, remains on Plum Island. It is 50 feet above water, and the 3,000 candle power 4th order Fresnel light is visible for 13 miles. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Plum Island Light.
Thank you very much. This morning we're with Barbara Kieser. She's on the board of directors of Plum Island Light, and her staff are going to show us around the lighthouse, tell us a little bit about the history, and just basically tell us all about this area and the Keeper's House as well. So let's take a walk up and enjoy the lighthouse.
Welcome to Plum Island Light. Our light has quite a bit of history. And I'm going to start you off with 1830, and these 2 beacons right here were wooden beacons that had a very large pot of kerosene or whale oil in them, and 4 wicks, and they were burned for the ships coming in to get focus as to where the channel was. Long before the jetties went in, and this whole bar area changed with every storm, so they had to be moved. Consequently, whichever way they had to show where the channel was. So by the middle of the 1800s, a lighthouse was, actually the lighthouse came right around 1800, and another beacon was added to it that rolled back and forth. And our first lighthouse keeper was Abner Lowell, appointed by George Washington, and we have the original document from the Lowell family, excuse me, from the Lowell family, and it dates 1799, which we're very proud of, and it is in the Maritime Museum in Newburyport. So following this along, we would go over to this picture of the old hexagon light that was on the other side of the island on Old Point Road. This was nothing but a sandbar here. Until about 1880, this was brought over, I'm sorry, a little bit earlier than that, about 1860, and then the new tower that we're in was built in 1898. And those 2 men on the top were probably in the process of moving the Fresnel lens over into the new tower. So, the Keeper's House is to the right here, of which I don't have a picture here, but we have one up here. At the same time, the hexagon light was there. This would have been prior 1898. This is the Keeper's House that is still here. Quite a few changes in it. It has dormers now and so on, and the Department of Interior still have ownership of that. One of their managers lives in it. We only have the area around the lighthouse. But looking at the picture, you can see across the river, that's Salisbury. That's the Merrimack. It was a stern ender that brought people down, and there was a little transfer boat right here that brought people over to this landing on Plum Island to visit for the day, bring in supplies, etc. That was the only way you got in, was by boat. The mast of this schooner over here, these were filling with sand to go down to Boston, to Portland, to the Portland Cement Company. And there were a few houses over in here, and you can also see a lot of hay mounded up. So that kind of brings the history around to current time. And we have the Coast Guard took this over in 1951, I believe, and it's been on automatic since then. We took over in 1994, 95, and will be 20 years coming up this coming year. We have about 150 members, and which half are life members, and we're always looking for more. The Friends of Plum Island Light, in addition to replacing the catwalk on the top, also put in the plaster, as you can see it going up the stairs and around the base of the tower. The reason being is that it was completely plastered in its day, but it had to be new footings and everything had to be replaced in the bottom because of rot. And they took all of the old plaster out, so we wanted to put it back to what it looked like originally. And you can see all the laths going across and the vertical planking, but it does show the strength of the building, which moves a little in a heavy, heavy wind.
Albert, how many stairs are there to the top?
31 to this, and we have to go up a ladder.
Okay, 31 stairs? Okay.
So it's built 1898,
Okay.
and we have been, next year will be our 20th year.
20, okay, that's great.
And here we are at the first landing.
Yes.
This is Linda Collins, our
Hi,
secretary.
thank you for showing us around today. Appreciate it. Great views and just enjoying
Wait
this
till you
very
get up
much.
there, you'll love it.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's awesome.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And this is Rosalind Esposito, who'll grab your hand on the way up.
Hi, Rosalind, how are you?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we're climbing up into the lantern room.
Watch your head.
Okay, and we'll watch our
On
head.
either side.
Okay. Well, I'm Phil Kowalski. Rosalind?
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Nice
Thank you.
to meet you.
Thank you for coming out this morning and showing us around.
Pleasure.
Okay. So this is a fourth order for
Fourth
our
order,
lens.
Yep.
Okay. And I see it has a.
It has
A
the plastic
green
cover because we're
plastic.
designated as green.
Okay. So that's its characteristic. Okay.
It
And-
distinguishes us from Thatcher and all the others.
Okay. Great.
Although Portsmouth Harbor is also green.
Okay.
And that's
And I
not too
believe
far away.
Marblehead too.
That's
yeah.
far enough away though that.
That's right. That's right. And from what I understand, this is one of only 5 lighthouses in Massachusetts that still retain the original Fresnel lens. And I guess Hospital Point is one of them down the coast. And so this is a great thing, the national treasure right here to keep these.
We have a picture downstairs on this landing right here when this lighthouse was built
Yes.
and they were disassembling the old one. They just put a plank across from one lighthouse to the other and carried this thing
Wow,
across.
that's amazing. And no knitting on the bottom, I'm sure, right?
Probably not.
Okay, that's wonderful. Here we are on the gallery balcony of the light. I'm here with Rosalind, and Rosalind says on the horizon you can see the Isle of Shoals.
And the Long Island on the left side that you can just see the point of the lighthouse sticking up. And on the right you can see the hotel. On a clear day it's very sharp and pretty. So we're about 50 feet above sea level, the focal length of the lens. And Rosalind, how far out to sea can you see this light?
I would guess, Barbara would know better than I would guess the Isles of Shoals are about 10-12 miles out.
Okay,
The light is supposed to reflect 13 miles,
okay,
sometimes 15, depending on the clarity of the evening.
okay. So this is still an activated navigation.
It's an activated
Mariners
navigation,
depend on it,
yes.
I'm sure. Even with GPS nowadays, it's still a landmark for a lot of boaters.
It's kind of nice when your boat goes over out there. You've got nothing to go by to see that green blinking light.
Absolutely, yeah. Then you know you're home,
When
right?
it happens.
Okay.
This is a replica of a boathouse that would have been a portion of the property that the life-saving service would have had on the ocean front, or did have. Unfortunately, it burned in 1914, so we lost the main part of it. And this was built by our former president, Jim Fry, and it serves as our storage, which is wonderful. And if you take a look around it, it is pretty authentic as to what one looked like, except it's been shrunk. So I'd like to bring to your attention the brick path we have going in and around the tower. We have a lot of people on it as memorial bricks. And the Friends of Plum Island Light entered in our keepers at the first 2 aisles of it, 2 rows. And Arthur Woods was the keeper from 1905 to 1919, and his grandson and his wife, Barbara, and I actually started the momentum back in the early, about 1993-4, in there to form the Friends of Plum Island Light. And my grandfather was also a keeper from 1924 to 1935 and retired from this light. He had been in the life-saving service since probably 1890. He was at Thatcher's Island, Boston Light, Plymouth, and several others, and he retired from this light, being of an age of then almost 70. We all had family involved, so it was a perfect blend. And that's how we got started. So as the other keepers that are listed here are the Lowells, and you saw inside the Abner Lowell, our first keeper, his son Lewis after him in 1815, and his son Joseph. So it stayed in the family, and there were 5 Lowells actually that were keepers here. So we owe a lot to the Lowell family and their wonderful donation. So in going around, we've had granite seats donated.
Well, that concludes our program from Newburyport Harbor Light today. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time when we tour another New England Light.